allowed to score will be well above 80%, because without entertainment, a man's life or the life of the society will just be drudgery. It will just be nothing to celebrate. But with entertainment everywhere, despite how ugly life turns out to be daily, despite what economic conditions throw at people daily, there is always that little light at the end of the the tunnel that we look up to, and that is entertainment. Entertainment has been good to us as a people, because without it, I don't think Nigeria will be where we are today in the scheme of things. Look at what Nollywood has done. Look at what our music is doing globally. Look at what our youths have turned Africa to be in the global arena because of entertainment.
Yes.
I'm not sure there is any other brand from Africa that could have done that for us.
Wow.
Thank you. I hope I can call you okay. I know
You are right.
I know that we haven't come way back from Jos, but
John is jealous.
I'm jealous. I'm really. I'm very, very jealous. Now,
but the funny thing about it is that I am very far away from Helen now, and you that is very close to her is this jealous. I wonder what you would do if I was very close.
You see.
Thank you for making me feel good. Now, okay. As we take a look at the social impact of entertainment in our lives, we see this peculiar vibrancy and infusion of youthfulness. There's this youthful energy that's been infused into the industry. Don't you think that our youth are taking this bull by the horns, something we didn't do in our times? Or are we just imagining it?
We are not imagining it. Honestly speaking, let me start by saying that youth, the word youth signifies energy. It signifies expression. And when you do not harness this energy and give them the platform to express this energy, use it negatively in such a way that the society will blame themselves for it. And that's what has been happening over the years before, let's just say, in the early 70s and the 60s, 60s and 70s, yes. Then there were just a few people making films. Our entertainment industry was almost run by the foreign nationals. Sure. And so the youth of this nation didn't have the capacity or the platform to express themselves. So we were left at the whims of those people who were the masters from abroad, dictating what we watched and what we listened to. In those days, you will find Hollywood, you will find Bollywood, and some Chinese films holding sway in Nigeria. The only ones we could watch may be the pirated copies in the market. Yeah. The only music also we could listen to may be the Michael Jacksons of this world and all foreign influence that were coming in because of the type of music and the type of things we were watching from that time. So which meant that Nigerian audience, Nigerian youths, and African youth per se, didn't have opportunity to express themselves, didn't have opportunity to tell their own stories, whether it was in music or in film. So what that meant was that we were losing not just money, but we were losing people who couldn't express themselves, people who didn't have the capacity to draw out what God has given them inherently, and creativity. So because youths are normally creative, and they can find this creativity in a wrong way.
Okay, all right.
So now, where we are now is that our present day youth have realized this, and because platforms have sprung up after a few years now, it's obvious that they are grabbing it with both hands and they are doing what the older ones couldn't do.
Okay, thank you again. Thank you so much. You have come a long way. You were there right from the beginning, and so you would know the entire story from beginning to the point where we are. And we're celebrating at this point because we've made huge success so far. We can say that. We also see a lot of intellectual stuff at the moment being applied in the growth of the industry, different from how it started. So are we up to par at this point with the global standards? Now, let's look at technologically, let's look at the storytelling, let's look at the total package of entertainment?
Now, you will understand that the storytelling quality of every picture is the same, whether it is in America or in China or in India. The only thing that differs is the type of equipment that what you deploy to tell these stories. And now, before we democratized filmmaking in 1992, living in bondage, what I mean by democratization is that we looked at the almighty celluloid production and we felt that we could tell the story, the same story with a little budget, with a little handheld cameras you can call ENGs or VHS equipment to tell the same story. We were not fools. We didn't think that the quality would be at par with what we had originally, which is celluloid cine cameras. It wasn't, there's no way they could have been the same. But you see, if we had played on that same platform with the whites, with the West, we wouldn't have an industry we can call our own today. Because now we will be carrying coal to Newcastle, and it's not possible that we will sell. So it needed that we will reinvent the practice in such a way that it will be pocket friendly to Africans, so that youths who are, very energetic and creative can then leverage on this pocket friendly format for filmmaking and still tell their stories and air their views to the whole world, even if the quality was not at par with what was existing globally.
Very well
But
said.
gradually now, we have begun to reinvent that practice, and constantly we've continued to improve on the standards, technologically, and even the quality of our stories. I dare say that the quality of the stories we told back then are a little bit more sophisticated than what we're telling today in terms of thematic treatment. But
yes,
the equipment today are better, because then we researched stories very well before we told them. These days, the people are just about making money. So oftentimes the stories may not be too good, but the equipment will be too perfect. So you find that what we lacked before, which was the equipment, is now present. But now what we had then, which was research, is now absent. So it just calls for a little bit of balance here and there.
Yes, well, I think one of the things I picked out there is that people are out to make money. I'll remember to pass that message on to them so that they know where to come look for you. But very well put. Okay, thank you so much for highlighting those points. Very, very good points you've made. Now, that growth pattern that we've noticed, no doubt it has a dark side to it. We acquire the technology to grow the industry, and we also acquire alien cultures with this. No, would this be in our national interest, do you think?
Whoever pays the piper dictates the tune. And globally, let me even start by saying that the creative industry, which is entertainment, deals with majorly two things, and which is what the ear hears and what the eye sees. And you will agree with me that the eye does not just want to see things that are normal. The eye wants to see things that are very abnormal. Wow. The ear wants to hear things that are so abnormal, so lewd, so weird, because then you paint some pictures and conjure some imagery in the minds of the people you are trying to entertain. Wow. And so, except you are such a disciplined entertainer or producer who really is not driven by profit, but by professionalism and ethics to grow not just the industry, but the people that you are entertaining. If you are not such a disciplined entertainer, what will happen is that you'll be driven a little bit close to the place of making money. And if you must make money, the world we are living in wants to see the absurd. They want to hear the lewd. And so that's where this line needs to be drawn. And then, which is why those who want to make money do the things that are absurd on the films. Internalize all those foreign cultures and habits and characters and mannerisms that are not good. Foreign values that are very alien to our culture. And because they want to make money. I mean, how would you feel if you shoot a film about an issue and nobody buys it tomorrow, what will you say to them? What will you tell the investors?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so it means that in order to make money, return on investment to your investors, you must go a little bit to the left in order to draw in the eyeballs that will watch or draw in the ears that will listen. If you don't do that, I'm afraid you may lose your investment. So it calls for balance to those who are mature producers, mature entertainers, so that they know when not to go overboard just because of gain, knowing also that the souls of men and the souls of the nation is at stake. That is what I think we will need to be talking about.
Yeah. Okay, when we started, you were not, you were not comfortable with just, you didn't stay with Nollywood alone. You went into the music industry. And when we're talking entertainment, we're talking, it's broad-based. We're talking music, we're talking drama, we're talking gaming, we're talking painting and all of that. So look at this in that context.
That's the creative industry, yes.
The creative industry. Thank you so much. So as we look at the social impact, can you give me 5 positives, social impacts that the entertainment industry has, on our environment and on our people? 5, please.
Let me even start. There are so many, but let me even start with the very crass ones, which is first, the world entertainment itself.
Sports.
Without entertainment, which is the soul of life, no one can survive tomorrow, because the hardships that life throws on us on a daily basis does not give hope for tomorrow. So we spread joy. Entertainment spreads joy, whether it is events or pictures or movies or music or art forms or even fashion or whatever you talk about that is entertainment. All of them are created to appeal to the inner sense of beauty of everybody, so that you can appreciate them from that format and receive joy. That is number 1. 2 is that our entertainment industry documents our cultural values and exports them to the world. By this, I mean that there are certain things like our food, our costume. For instance, today you can see Beyonce, Kim Kardashian, and Rihanna going to events, major events globally, wearing African designs. Ankara material designed and made by us. That is an influence. That is a cultural imperialism taking place. And that is huge. If you go to Ghana, if you go to Kenya, if you go to some parts of Africa, you will find people speaking Igbo and Yoruba languages because they pick them up from the films. They didn't have to go to any school to learn them. You hear them saying Igwe, even Pidgin English. Even our lifestyles are being copied. Hook, line, and sinker. They are all trying to live like Nigerians because of the way we are. I remember some time ago, our former president, Jonathan Goodluck, was saying that he went to some presidential events, these conferences that they attend. And each time he goes to those places, the only first thing they'll ask him is about Nollywood. That shows the impact. Now, I want to say also that in 2014, when the Nigerian GDP was rejigged and rebased, it was found out by IMF and World Bank that the entertainment industry contributed 1.4 to the GDP. No other brand, no other product in Nigeria outside agriculture and oil is able to do that. So which means also that alone shows that the entertainment industry is very positive.
That's number 3.
The next one is, that's number 3. And then I would say also that FDIs, foreign direct investments, have continued to come in here. You will remember when World Bank gave, because of that rebasing, gave access to filmmakers to begin to talk about a grant of $3 million. It was shared. That was foreign direct investment. Whether it came as a loan or whatever, it came. You can also remember the Irokos, who have made a lot of venture capitalists come into their business. You will remember that African Magic couldn't have come to this Africa, DSTV, they couldn't have come to Nigeria if it wasn't because of the entertainment industry. Those are foreign direct investments.
Okay.
That's 4, yeah? That's 4.
I know you can go to 10, but let's just hold it for now.
I can up to 20. Let me say the last one, which is very key.
Yes.
Now, every human being was created for heroism. That's why when you look at the Maslow's law of hierarchy of laws, you will find out that every human being wants to be number 1, numero uno, wherever he finds himself. And so it makes everybody aspirational just to draw out, to do something that will make him stand out wherever he finds himself. And there's nothing that does that to the youth except the entertainment industry. Which is why, because of that aspirational capacity of entertainment industry, you find out that a lot of our youth who would have ordinarily been unemployed on the streets of Nigeria and Africa are all gainfully employed or looking forward to being employed in the entertainment industry. Therefore, takes them away from criminal tendencies. So there are so many.
Great. Like Helen said, if we leave you at this, you could go up to 20. Thank you so much. Now, we're running out of time, but I won't let you go until I ask you this question, which I brought all the way from home to the studio to present to you. Now, we hear that the entertainment industry is likely to drive our economy in the future. Do you share such sentiments?
Very well, because it is actually predicated on human beings.
Okay.
Everyone is a supermarket created by God with capacities and talents. If their platforms are available for everyone to draw out his talents, everybody has inherent talents that he can do better than anyone living on the earth. So if given opportunity and these capacities are drawn out because there are platforms to make them available to people, they will all be translated into money. And Nigeria will not have any business looking for oil or looking for gold or looking for whatever thing that is money that they are chasing, because it's all in the hearts, in the minds of creative people all over Nigeria. And the youths have it in so much abundance that given opportunity, I think we will do. Look at what we're doing globally. Our music, our films, our artifacts, everything that we create have colonized the whole world. What more do we want to say about our industry?
I like that word.
It's an untapped resource. We've not even begun to scratch the surface. True. It's so huge.
True. So huge. Thank you so much, Ogunjofor. Thank you for honoring our invitation, and thank you for enlightening us so deep in this area that I also believe is very dear to you, because you've been in it forever. The opportunities are huge, like you said. You know, the entertainment industry, the opportunities or the avenues for people to get employed, they are massive. You're looking at script writers, you're looking at the storytellers, you're looking at the cameramen, the audio people, you're looking at the actors themselves. It's so huge. So I believe that if the government of this country, you know, puts its money where their mouth is, if I can use that word, entertainment will get us to that point where we will colonize the world. You used it to, not me, Okechukwu. Abi, you say we can colonize the world, you know.
Yes, because you see, Americans did that for a long time with us.
Yes.
From their films, you will begin to fear them. They display their arsenals. They display their capacities to quench and to fight any nation and stop them dead in the tracks. They display the capacity that their industry or their country works very well and makes every of us want to go there. So that is the type of propaganda they have used their industry to create.
It's retaliation. It's retaliation.
And we can do better. We can do better. We will do better.
Thank you so much. Okay, I hope that I'll get my invitation to see you in Jos as your latest friend, newest.
He's in Lagos. Jos was way back.
Okay, Jos was way back. Yeah, he can take me anywhere. It doesn't matter.
Helen moved to Lagos. So I moved to Lagos with her.
Look at you. Thank you, Ogechi. So my love to your wife and your children. Thank you. I haven't seen them in a long while.
It's okay for me too.
All right, then.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Bye.
So, Helen. You won that bout. Right? So thank you so much. Well, we'll take a break now. Yeah. Yes, we'll take a break now.
As we get ready for our next guest. Please stay with us, don't go away.
Do you live in Victoria Island, Ikoyi, Ilupeju, Festac, and Okpebi? Do you crave reliable internet to stream Netflix movies and do business from home? Now introducing Elite Wi-Fi from eStream Networks. With guaranteed internet speed that is affordable and reliable, you can enjoy 100% unlimited internet access with zero buffering. So sign up today for Elite Wi-Fi, powered by eStream Networks.
So you're welcome back. This is Today with John and Helen, and we've had quite a session with our friend Okechukwu Pablo. So our second guest is a screenwriter, he's a movie director, and a media personality, Mr. Yomi Layinka. I find it difficult putting that Mr. in front of his name. So Yomi, please let's go back to the way it used to be.
Yomi Layinka.
Yes,
Yomi Layinka. Yomi Layinka is the founding member of the television service of Oyo State, that's TCOS, where he served as a producer. He went on to produce scores of television drama series on the network of the Nigerian Television Authority, including the sponsored Winds of Destiny. I'm sure you remember that. And the NNPC-sponsored Legacy, which introduced some of today's leading Nollywood stars, actually, into the business. Now, in the course of a career spanning about 4 decades, Yomi has directed and produced scores of radio and television programs, documentaries, advertisements, and training materials for the leading brands in Nigeria. Yomi, my good friend. Yomi is my friend.
See you.
So Yomi, thanks for joining us.
and John was my client.
Yes.
Okay.
You know, Yomi.
Yes, I used to
Yomi is
produce
my
commercials for John's agency.
Excellent.
Yeah. You see, when Yomi agreed to come on the program, right, I started playing back visuals of him in his old Santana.
Oh boy.
Coming to the office for briefs.
Oh Lord.
Santana.
You remember that Santana?
Oh, yes. Yes.
Oh, good old days.
So-
In the early 90s.
Yes, early 90s. Well, you're welcome once again, Yomi. Now because of time, you know, let's dive into it.
Yeah.
Now, entertainment, and that's what we're talking about. You know, it has no doubt grown into a huge and thriving business. Indeed, the value chain can only be best described as endless. Now, could you tell us some of the areas that have fed off this viable industry? So for a start.
Well, yes. I mean, to start with, just to give a context, like you said, it's a fairly huge industry globally and specifically in Nigeria. I mean, for instance, PriceWaterhouse predicted about 5 years ago that Nigeria was going to become one of the fastest growing media and entertainment industries in the world. As at 2016, 2017, the value of the Nigerian entertainment business, according to PriceWaterhouse, was about $5 billion. And, you know, we know at that time, too, 3, 4, 5 years ago, the entertainment industry was contributing about 1.5 trillion naira value to our GDP. So it's a considerably big industry. And of course, the components of that industry, as you know, includes radio, television, movies, fashion, out-of-home entertainment, media, and so forth. The elements, it's like a movie set, for instance. Even where you are, the people working on that set include producers, lighting engineers, sound people, fashion designers, or if you like, costumiers and makeup artists. So it's a considerably integrated industry that has several components to it. It's just when you watch a movie, for instance, at the end of a movie, you wonder whether you're watching another movie in terms of the credits that line it up. Sometimes 250, 400 people worked on a movie.
Yeah.
So it's a fairly huge industry. And it has key elements, as we say, entertainment and art reflects life. So art is like a potpourri of different professional trades and contributions, from writers to musicians to poster designers, artists, to, as I said, fashion designers and so forth. So it's a wide yet integrated industry in which several people find an opportunity for expression and, of course, for engagement in terms of economic livelihoods.
All right, thank you so much, and we have done well. Looking at the value chain created by the entertainment industry, which you have enumerated, one cannot say that this was accidental. Now, what do you think is responsible for this evolution? Our first guests, took us through how they started. Humble beginning, probably not too many people involved for the reason of financing. But as time went on, they started getting some level of sponsorship and partnership financially, and then it became better. What do you think is responsible for this evolution?
Well, let's understand that, interestingly, the Nigerian entertainment industry, as we probably already know, was driven largely by the creative entrepreneurship of young Nigerians who had to open the doors themselves. Government, unfortunately, did not play the lead role it ought to play. Well, you could also say that government already had established being in control then of broadcasting. So broadcasting was a platform, for instance, for most artists to demonstrate, especially performing artists who had opportunities to act in movies or television series or to score motion picture music or radio. Even radio provided opportunities, including as far back as the 60s. People like Fela was, as you know, a producer with Nigerian Broadcasting Service then. People like the late Steve Rhodes were on radio. So radio provided, and television provided the basic platform for this engagement. But then, as I said, the young Nigerians went in, especially, again, in all of these, the key drivers are technology.
Sure.
Technology democratized access and capacity for expression. In the mid-'80s and late '80s and early '90s, we had a rush of technological innovations from VHS cameras, which were cheaper, unlike the Betacam or the other the bigger cameras that television stations use. So individuals could actually access these technologies, and then in the process, they domesticated. Rather than wait for the television stations, the individuals were able to do things. Progressively, people began to have access to laptops, and their laptops created a platform for them to create their own music, to create designs. And so technology has been a major drive and continues to drive the entertainment industry globally. Internet access, for instance, has also created an expansion in possibilities in terms of reach, and people are using that. And so I think, and of course, every success tends to create its own impact on others, because then people see, oh, if he's doing well in this, I can do that. And then you have little competitions coming up, and then I can do better than this person. And I think that all of these expand the possibilities. And of course, as I said, gadgets and smartphones are now easier to access.
Yes.
Somebody mentioned, for instance, that with our iPhones, iPhone 6, iPhone 7, iPhone 8, people are making movies. Sure. Like the veteran movie maker, Tunde Kilani, often says that what has happened to the movie industry is that the technology has helped to democratize. Now with a little camera or a small piece of light or something, everybody can make a movie. So I think technology, of course, the app ecosystem also creates opportunities, because now you can do a lot of things with apps, send materials, and then streaming and all of that. So technology is at the heart of it. Yes. And then, of course, the expanded demand by audiences. Audiences want new things. And of course, the population of the world is increasing, especially the middle class and the younger people, who tend to feed on these technological gadgets. And of course, everybody wants some measure of entertainment after a hard day's work. So I think that mainly technology, of course, economic expansion, and as I said, the fact that it has created possibilities for people to be economically engaged. And so you don't have unlike before, I mean, when we were younger, anybody that said he wanted to go into music or movies, they thought he was a useless person, or didn't have a career. He couldn't be a doctor, couldn't be a lawyer. But now, even parents are encouraging their kids to get into music and sports, So the entertainment industry has created opportunities for self-expression, for economic engagement, and of course to satisfy the needs of a burgeoning market of audiences globally.
Thank you, Yomi. Well, I agree with you that technology has played a key role in the development. Well, of course, without an enabling environment, all of this wouldn't even be possible. Now, what has been the role of the economy itself in this growth?
Well, yes. I mean, again, economy, the economy is a linkage of economies, if I may. And one fits on the other. I mean, let's give an example. The telecoms companies, even banks, in the earlier days before the telecoms companies got bigger and took more center stage in the use of entertainment as marketing tools. So the banks had to shoot commercials, the FCMG companies had to shoot commercials to promote their products, had to create events and road shows. And so these created economic opportunities and engagement. The companies were using the artists, and the artists were feeding off the companies. In other words, there was a symbiotic relationship that benefited both parties. And in the larger sense, I just mentioned that the Nigerian economy benefits up to 1.5 trillion naira value from the media and entertainment industry. That's significant. And yet, this is even done without real structure. You can then imagine if we had expanded or put in place proper economic management structures that ensures that the banks and investment community put money behind entertainment, and then the business management culture that makes sure that there are effective outcomes of returns on investment are there, and the discipline. We would have probably had a lot more economic value from the entertainment industry. But there's no doubt that the economy itself, in spite of, as I said, not so structured way in which it had happened, has played a significant role in the growth of the industry. I did mention earlier on that, for every industry that grows, just watch, you will notice that people come into that field when they see opportunities for self-fulfillment. I mean, artists now live in Lekki, they buy houses, they ride good cars, they can send their children to good schools because they make money. And so if they weren't making money, they probably wouldn't have people coming in droves into that industry. And so certainly it's a profession, and like every other profession, it has economic value because it's also giving value to other members of that economic chain.
All right. Thank you. And because of this huge success and the opportunities that it has provided for a lot of people, both young and old, there are institutions coming up here and there, to provide a professional blueprint for more people to come on board. The Television College in Jos is there. We have the film corporations here and there. And NBC is also stepping up, with what you must do, what you cannot do in terms of sanitizing, the entertainment industry. And that's very pleasing to me. A few years ago, 2-3 years ago, I watched a drama piece on stage at the Muson Center put together by Bolanle Peters, and it was awesome. So when you talk of value chain, you can see the crowd, the number of artists who came together as actors and actresses, to put together that. The name is just skipping from my brain. So yes, that is an opportunity for a lot of us, to plow in and make huge success. We also have the entertainment influencers everywhere. Many years ago, we heard of a girl who just from nowhere rose to prominence from the entertainment industry. So right now, let's look at the effect of the pandemic. The pandemic is not over. It is here with us. And the entertainment industry, so to speak, probably went comatose for a while,
Just like every other thing.
Yes, it's taking a huge blow on the entertainment industry. Can you paint a full picture for us, of this downturn and what it portends?
Well, as John quipped in, it affected everybody. Even now, we're still getting used to it. I think the first thing it did, of course, is that it took performing artists off the streets. They couldn't dance on the streets. They couldn't have road shows. They couldn't have, because of crowd control issues. And therefore, everybody got back onto their decks. There was that. What do we do now? How do we navigate ourselves out of this conundrum? But the creative spirit endures and will always get out of the water. And so we began to see people concentrate on areas where they had control. I mean, their laptops, for instance. And so we began to see the possibilities of doing more desk-oriented work like animation, editing, and so even movies were shot. Some I saw, I think, on channels sometime. Producer, I think, Obiloye, talk about a movie he produced by Zoom, literally. He actually had people in different areas in their living rooms, act out scenarios, and he edited it together into a movie. In other words, it would challenge the creative ingenuity in all of us.
Yeah.
And more importantly, it's just as it has done to the workplace. It has created a new work culture and ecosystem. In other words, we will begin to see movies and entertainment pieces that were based on that. I imagine, for instance, that a lot of songwriters had more concentrated time to think and write songs. I would imagine, and we will begin to see the results of that in months and years to come. Fashion designers had time to concentrate and design things in their respective laboratories. But, technology always solves some of these problems. And then we will begin to see how artists will leverage on the technological opportunities in streaming and all of that to compensate for the slowdown or the downturn. I mean, as we said, everybody was affected, but everybody is finding his way out now. University lecturers are finding better ways or more creative ways of teaching, using Zoom, using some other technologies. Medical doctors are doing the same thing. So artists and entertainment professionals would certainly find a way. They're the creative people.
Well, we also hope that the whole world will find a way
out
of the effect of this pandemic. Now, Yomi, we have just 30 seconds, and really, I want to ask you, where does this industry, this vibrant industry, where does it get its energy from? Because the now generation, that's the younger generation, wish to claim it as theirs.
Okay.
So where does the industry get its energy from?
It gets its energy from the past, because there's always a foundation. I did mention earlier on, and we all grew up knowing this, Village Headmaster, Cockrell Dawn, Fela's music, radio DJs of that era. Sorry?
Baba Salah.
Baba Salah, exactly. Yeah. So, Yoruba say something, there's nothing new under the sun. Yeah. What happens is we keep rebranding, repositioning, and remixing. You can see, we've seen how Fela has been remixed over and over again by the younger generation. In other words, they find inspiration in him. They find inspiration in the television dramas of old.